I think we could get started. Beth, would you like to kick us off?
Sure. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome. Thank you so much for being here today. We know you are all especially busy and appreciate the time you're giving to learn more about the work of Pacific Community Ventures and Kaiser Permanente's partnership with them. I know the real value of your time, and the time for us here together today is really hearing from PCV directly about their work. And we hope that it will give some insight on how it might further support your own efforts to strengthen our Southern California small, diverse businesses and the very bold and very brave entrepreneurs of color that lead them. But before we dive into that, I wanted to just spend a couple of minutes and sort of frame up how this partnership kind of came to be, and really how it is a true commitment to our mission as an organization to improve the health of our members, our patients, and the communities that we serve. I don't know that everybody always connects the dots between supporting small businesses, supporting economic growth, and how that connects into supporting health. But it won't be news to any of you that we have kind of an equity problem in our nation. For far too long, inequities have existed for underrepresented communities in our country. And this has resulted in decades, actually centuries of health inequities. And no matter how heroic, our healthcare efforts can be to address poor health outcomes, we can bring better drugs, we can bring smarter doctors, we can have more high-cost procedures or more specialty procedures. We won't actually get to better health with any of that. Sure, we certainly need healthcare. We need good healthcare, particularly like times during a pandemic. But health is not really the result of quality care we get. It's rather the quality of the conditions within which we live. That's what really drives our health. And one way we as an organization believe we can improve the conditions for health is by advancing economic opportunity, which is really what brings us here today. Economic opportunity is foundational to healthy communities. Having a steady income and opportunities to build wealth support us all. That's how we live in stable housing. That's how we're able to choose safer neighborhoods, provide healthy food for ourselves and our families. And it allows us to live free from sort of chronic stress that can often come about by financial insecurity. Truly, without economic opportunity, it is of our belief that we cannot have health. Underrepresented communities are disproportionately impacted by a lack of economic opportunity. And I realize in many ways I'm preaching to the choir with that. And many of you on the line today know that and live that in a much more profound way than we do. But it really does connect up into our organization when we really connect the research or look at the research that predicts health outcomes and healthy years of living. Research predicts that median Black and Latinx average household wealth is trending down, and it's trending down quickly, on track to hit zero for Black families by 2025, for Latinx families by 2073, if nothing is done to improve and create more economic opportunity. In sharp contrast, in that same research, white households and white household wealth is on track to climb into the $100 to $130, maybe $140,000 by 2073. So that's a 50-year span. It may feel like a long time, but we are trending in the wrong direction to have health outcomes for all of us, good health outcomes. So this racial gap, we believe, is very unacceptable, and it matters to health. Income and wealth are very strongly correlated with life expectancy and health outcomes. I won't rattle off a lot of statistics, but I did write down a couple. The difference in life expectancy between the richest 1% and the poorest 1% of Americans is about 12 years. And that's when you pull out all the other variables that may impact that. So living 12 years less just because you're Black is not acceptable. Preterm births are more common for women who are low income. Financial strain for children who grow up in homes. Financial strain can cause a lot of trauma if children grow up in homes with a lot of financial stress. And the study after study after study shows that that kind of trauma in childhood is associated with higher rates of cardiovascular disease in adulthood, higher rates of diabetes, higher rates of liver disease, substance misuse, and on and on. And of course, financial strain for any of us is hard. But when it's chronic, when it's ongoing, when it's kind of ever present in somebody's life, it can have extraordinary long-term impacts on our psychological well-being. So thinking through as an organization, the real dire impacts that the racial wealth gap can have on health outcomes and the economic opportunity gaps that exist in our communities, Kaiser Permanente adopted a new approach to add to our community health portfolio, really looking at ways we could leverage our assets to improve economic opportunity, really help individuals living in our communities build financial resilience, build financial security and stability, and have financial growth, wealth growth. And our work is kind of focused on 4 key pillars. I won't dive into them, but just to say, we're very focused on supporting access to connecting individuals to quality jobs and careers. And for us, the quality is really the important part there. We're focused on supporting students to graduate from high school and be college or career ready when they do. We're supporting efforts to help individuals with their own financial health and literacy and credit building. And last but not least, we are really committing to supporting small, diverse businesses, helping them to grow, to thrive, and to create jobs. Of course, it's this last pillar in supporting small businesses, which brought us all to you and certainly led us to PCV. And we were well underway to establishing a partnership with PCV when the pandemic hit. And then the civil unrest with the tipping point in the murder of George Floyd. These 2 things, as horrific as they have been, simply illuminated brighter all of what we've known for a long time, the delicate nature of our public's health and the massive extent of racism that exists in our nation. So in June of last year, our CEO, Greg Adams, announced a $100 million commitment to equity achieved through economic opportunity, and essentially asked all of us to double down on building new partnerships with organizations that could really further support this economic opportunity work we were doing, and PCV was one of those organizations. A significant majority of that investment is really centered around mentoring, coaching, providing technical assistance, through grants and through access to investment capital to national partners that we believe can focus more intentionally in the communities that KP serves, including right here in Southern California. Pacific Community Ventures is a really vital partner in this work. We are proud to be partnering with them, and we are really grateful for their efforts in the work that they've been doing, both before the pandemic, but certainly since the pandemic, with some extraordinary support to our small business and our entrepreneurs of color. So just wanted to give that little bit of a frame. I think for me today, this session has 2 really critical purposes. The first is just to basically inform you about PCV, for those of you that don't know them, that the resources available, that this might be a value add to the work you're already doing on the ground with small businesses and entrepreneurs of color. But it's also a request, I think, and maybe a tiny bit of an invitation to allow us to join you and for you to join us in this effort to advance economic opportunity, which really can in turn improve the conditions for health throughout our communities and ultimately allow us all to have good health. So with that, I really just want to thank the PCV team for all of their efforts in co-hosting this session with us. I know we've been longing to do it for several months, so thank you for your patience. I also want to acknowledge my colleague, Roberta Tinajero, who is also on the line today, who has been kind of the on-the-ground, steadfast leader in building this partnership and really thinking through how it will meaningfully land here in Southern California. That work has been underway for many, many, many months. So thank you again for your time and for joining today. And with that, I think I'll pass it back over to you at the PCV team to get us started. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. It's my pleasure to now welcome our CEO, Bubul Gupta, to get us started.
Awesome. Thanks, Natalia. And thanks, Beth, for that intro. I feel like we just all need to take a deep breath and recenter with all of the amazing context you just shared. As someone who grew up in a developing country and spent the first half of my career working on solving for market failure and wealth disparities in developing countries, and pivoted in the last 10 years to working more domestically, given how the US started looking more and more like a developing country in terms of our wealth disparity, more than most people would like to admit in this country. I can really connect with a lot of what you're describing around the importance of basic economic and community development that really contributes to our overall health and well-being, that allows us to have things like financial security, and very, very much why organizations like ours that were, partly founded out of the tail end of the civil rights legislation, to be able to solve for that market failure and reaching communities of color and low and moderate income communities with community development, economic development, small business lending, mentorship, and increasingly in the last few years with our focus around creating good quality jobs so that people can not only have a stronger financial health and well-being floor to work up from for upward mobility, but to be able to make some of those financial decisions for themselves and their families, to be able to grow from, and really help to improve the, not just addressing racial wealth gaps and gender wealth gaps, but really starting to get to the systemic change of community wealth building, and try to upend that curve we are unfortunately have been on for a while and worsened in the last economic crisis. And that's very, very much a lot of what we are spending a lot of time thinking about right now, is how we show up through this crisis. And, in a year like 2021, how we show up this year, all of us, is really going to determine what this economic recovery can and should look like if we really want it to be inclusive and if we really want to build forward better. So I am just really, really grateful for the incredible mission alignment that has come together between our two organizations. It's just been really evident in every conversation I've had with the Kaiser team, and I could not appreciate that more through this crisis, because that's not always the case. And I am just really, really excited and happy to be working with you all. So I know I'm happy to talk a little bit more about PCV, and I know Natalia will explain a little bit more about our business advising program, as well as our small business support circle that the partnership last summer you're describing helped us kick off, to really be able to meet some of the 20x demand for our services that we saw throughout the crisis last year in 2020 from March forward, both for our affordable lending capital, that is the CDFI, Community Development Financial Institution side of our house, that works directly with small businesses in California, especially, where we were started out of the Bay Area, but the greater LA area and Southern California has really been growing as a second biggest market for our lending portfolio as well, and trying to keep up with the incredible demand growing out of SoCal this past year as well. And then our business advising program that is growing not just within California, but also nationwide, including through this partnership and with some key community partners. So I'll leave Natalia and Morgan to explain a little bit more about our small business support circle later on. I think just from PCV's side, to sort of do a little bit more in terms of where we overlap, I think for us as an organization, having a lending portfolio directly, our business advising program, and our impact investing research and consulting practice allows us to have a little bit of a unique voice where we are not only able to work directly with entrepreneurs of color, women, minority entrepreneurs who are underserved in different markets, to be able to get them super affordable capital, but also following our venture capital roots that we were founded with, be able to bring them that mentorship to really help with the pre and post investment success for their business, which we've ramped up significantly in the past year, but also be able to use our research, consulting, and policy side of our house to really lift up and represent the voices of the communities we serve and the needs we see on a month-to-month basis that have been changing really fast over the past year based on different parts of the crisis and different programs we've seen show up or fail to show up for the communities we want to reach. So it's unique in the sense that we're able to have a direct practitioner lens as well as the policy and research lens for the long term that we're really trying to aim for together around community wealth gaps. So I appreciate this context and look forward to talking further. And I think I'm going to turn it over to Nathalia to dive deeper into the business advising work.
Thank you. So yeah, I wanted to introduce you with a question of what if small businesses had their own advisory boards? We hear time and time again, tech startups having advisory boards. We hear about the data that backs up the fact that businesses that have access to mentorship and coaches and advisors have a greater chance of surviving for more time, of growing faster, of creating more jobs. But we also know that our communities, in the communities that we all serve, especially Black and Brown communities, have less access to those networks that could lead to accessing more advisors. So that's how we came to be. As Bob will explain, our origin came in the impact investment space before impact investment was even a thing. And we also, as a CDFI, we work in getting capital to the hands of small businesses that need it the most. But in that process, we came to learn that while small businesses need capital, they also need 15 other things. And I think many of us are working in trying to connect small business owners to all of those 15 things. And the only thing those 15 things have in common across different businesses is that they're ever changing. So that's where I came to realize about the importance of technical assistance, but technical assistance elevated to the next level. So we know that not one organization can give all of the support that a small business owner needs across different industries and across different functions and across all geographies. But we also came to learn that there are hundreds of business professionals across all industries, across all functions, and across all geographies that want to help. They want to support their community small businesses, and they recognize that small businesses are the engine that build our communities. So our business advising program was born as this desire to connect these two sets of communities, people who need the help in terms of business advising support, and the professionals that want to help. So that's how our businessadvising.org platform came to be. Many people refer to us as the match.com of skill-based volunteering for businesses, in that we are very, very careful in finding the best potential matches for folks. Morgan, I don't know if you can change to the next slide, please. Perfect. So yes, this is how it works in a nutshell. We leverage the best of technology, but also stay anchored around being people-driven. So small businesses come into our website and tell us a little bit about themselves and their businesses and their needs. But the next step is that they get connected to a real human being that will talk through with them. We'll talk through what are the areas of business they will need support with, get to know them as people. Then we have a tech-enabled algorithm that will suggest a couple of options of potential advisors out of our portfolio. And then the final match will actually be hand-selected by the relationship manager that actually got from our team, that got to know the small business owner as a person, and just they got to know their business better. From there, we facilitate the process and let small businesses and their advisors take it from there. Some people like to meet once a week. Some people like to meet once a month in a longer session. Normally, these relationships entail 4 to 5 hours a month and last around between 5 to 6 months. But we let the small business owner drive that process. Our portfolio of advisors, we take a lot of pride on how diverse it is. It's half of them are people of color, half of them are women, and we're working hard in growing those numbers even more. And then also 56% of them have entrepreneurial experience themselves. They either are small business owners themselves or have experience founding businesses in the past. So we're very excited because this allows us to meet the small business owners where they are and then grow. Because the small business owners have access to a relationship manager that's a real human being they can email or call at any point in time, they can connect with them and say, hey, Daniel, I think I need an additional advisor. Now that I took care of my financial operations, I want to talk about my marketing strategy. And or they can reach out and say, hey, I don't know how to navigate this with my advisor. What should I do? And they have a constant area of support in us. So yeah, it really helps entrepreneurs in many, many different ways. But don't take it from me. Today, we want to introduce you to Dr. Nola Visa, from founder of V Solutions Consulting. She's one of the small business owners that we partner with. She has over 20 years of experience in the fields of mental health and substance abuse, and has been working for several years for the Department of Justice. And her business provides consulting service in areas of substance abuse, mental health, developmental disability. And she's been working with one of our advisors. So I would love to welcome Dr. Nola now and have her share her experience. How has it been?
Thank you so much. I really cannot thank PCV enough for highlighting my business, for supporting me. And so I just want to tell you a little bit about my background, and I'll introduce myself. I'm Dr. Nola Visa, and I'm the CEO of V Solutions Consulting LLC. We are a service-disabled, veteran-owned small business, and we provide training, staff development, and consulting primarily to behavioral health organizations. But we're expanded, and that is thanks to I can't even use a superlative word to describe how I feel about the support I've gotten from PCV, especially Nilesh, who has been my mentor. But prior to being the CEO of V Solutions Consultant, I was a little girl growing up in Central America with a dream of having a business. I didn't know what type of business. I didn't know how that was going to come about. And so what I did is I joined the military. I was in the U.S. Air Force for 20 years, and I'm retired from the Air Force. And then I started my business with some business acumen, but not a whole lot. But in 2019, I got connected with PCV, and it's been outstanding. Several things PCV has done to really help me. And that's in 2019, I was pivoting from being a solopreneur to being an entrepreneur. A lot of times we think we have a business if we have, and we do, but we don't become a real business, so to speak, a company, until you're able to hire people, until you're able to scale. And that was scary for me. I didn't know how I was going to do that. So I got introduced to PCV. They introduced me to Nilesh, and he helped me to get out of my head, to change the way I think, to have a new thinking, a new paradigm, a paradigm shift. And one of the things I was concerned with is, so how am I going to pay employees so that I can scale my business? But one of the advices that Nilesh gave me was, you can go to colleges and you can hire postdocs, you can hire interns to start out. And the thing that you want to do with postdocs is you pay them well enough so that they will stay with your business. So even as you grow, you have that, personnel capital, so to speak, within your business to grow with you. And that's exactly what I did. Now, from 2019 to 2020, the business tripled in revenue. And so we were able to get, yes, I'm so excited. We were able to hire some people. I have a postdoc psychologist who works with us, who is also a trainer. I also hired a drug and alcohol trainer from New York, because that was one of my fears, is how do I go about getting people here in Southern California? But he helped me to think beyond those boundaries. I was just thinking about Southern California. I had and still have several contracts with the state, with the Department of Corrections. And I was thinking, well, how do we, hire those people? But he said, have you thought of, going beyond California? getting people and expanding your business. And I said, well, I don't know how to do that because most of the contracts that I have were because of a certification as a disabled veteran here. But he said, but you can think beyond that. And what he did and what PCV did for me is to think outside of the box, to think and to know, not just thinking outside of the box, to know that I had support. And I think for small businesses, that's our downfall, is thinking that we have to do it all ourselves. And when you think about that, the magnitude is so great. I was so overwhelmed by thinking, how am I going to do all these things? But having people that you can contact, that I can contact and say, hey, can I get some help with this? Or what do you think about this? Is golden. It is absolutely golden. What does this mean for my business going forward? What it means is that I know that I'm not alone on this journey. And that's the most important, even beyond the growth. I think the scary thing is knowing that I am not alone. I can contact Morgan because I'm more in contact with Morgan and say, hey, can you help me with this? That's the scary thing for us as small business, especially. And when I heard Beth talking about the gap, the chat is a big chasm between the haves and the have-not. For those of us who are minority business owners and starting out, it's like, where do we go? Not just to get capital. We need capital, but where do we go to get the support to structure our business? I think that is one of the biggest challenges, at least it was for me. How do I structure this business? I had a kind of a clue. I went back and I got a doctorate degree in organizational management, and that helped a lot. But bringing theory to practice is what PCV does. It helps you to bring theory to practice. I had a lot of head knowledge, but how do you do that? And to help your business to scale. So from now on, I feel confident, I feel comfortable that I have somewhere and someone to call and say, help me with this because I don't know it all. You don't know it all. But PCV can only do so much. Here's what I will implore you. You have to do your part as a small business owner. You have to reach out. You have to follow up. And I don't mean to preach, that was not part of my agenda, but we have to partner with PCV as they partner with us if we want to grow. And like me, I had to get outside of my thinking. That thinking kept me in a box. And once you are able to overcome your thinking, I think we're able to expand beyond the walls of what we think our business should look like. Thank you guys again for inviting me. Thank you for the exposure. I've gotten a lot of exposure because of PCV. I really cannot thank you enough.
Thank you, Dr. Nola, for being such a great part of our community. Oh, there was some echo there, but we're great. So next, we're going to talk a little bit about how might we partner together and what our small business support circle looks like. But before I dive into that, I would love to open the floor for questions for Dr. Nola about her business or her experience working with a PCV advisor, or questions to us about the matching process. I'd love to hear from you. What questions do folks have? And I can get us started. I have a question for Dr. Nola. I was wondering if you can tell us a little bit about how you structure your work with your advisor. How often do you meet? How do you set that up? How has that been working like?
So we started with once a week, and we would meet for an hour and a half max. And it's centered around what my business looked like, what I wanted it, what my vision of my business was. Initially, my vision was very limited. I'm retired Air Force, and I thought, I just want a part-time business that will help me and that I can help those in the behavioral health industry. But then when he started asking very good, poignant Socratic questions, and I like Socratic questions, it helped me to think outside of what I thought I wanted to do. What he said, so how does that look? And what is it that you envision? My vision was limited. And so I started thinking, well, perhaps I need to have a greater vision. So we moved from once a week. Once I got that vision, once I was able to put some structures around it, and now we meet once a month. And now we meet whenever I need help.
That is fantastic. And because of how we source of advisors. They're all people that want to help and are very, very mission driven. They're very, very flexible and work with you and have this just mission alignment that we've been talking about. We have a couple of questions. Does this organization charge for the mentoring service? No, never. So our services are completely free. All our small business owners join us, and it's completely free. And our volunteer advisors are volunteering their time. So yeah, there is no charge in there. And also, when we partner at an organizational level, we want to join forces with you, and that's what I'm going to talk about in a second. That is also free of charge, thanks to the support of Kaiser Permanente. They're allowing us to increase our vision and our reach and be able to partner with you all and offer this service and additional services on organizational level without any charge. So thank you so much to Kaiser for supporting the support circle in this way and making this all available and possible. So the next question is from Aaron. What does the typical PCV company look like in terms of employees, years in business, goods and service offerings? Great question. So we serve all sorts of businesses in terms of types of it. We serve a cuckoo clock maker in Florida. They make cuckoo clocks to small, into consulting businesses, gyms, restaurants, coffee shops, you name it. In terms of size, the majority have between 1 and 5 employees. And we ask that the businesses that join us are in the post-revenue phase. So we don't work with startups per se, the ones that are in the pre-revenue, or in the idea phase, because most of our advisors are more equipped to work with the businesses that are in the growth phase. So no startups too much, but yeah, if you're a new company that have already started selling up a product or a service, we're happy to welcome you. So in general, our guideline is businesses that are at least 1 year in business and have around 100K in sales, but that is flexible. We don't turn away anyone because they make 75. If you're already selling, you're in the post revenue phase, we're happy to work with all of those businesses. Any other questions? Anyone? I would love to start talking to you about a small business support circle that I started teasing there a little bit. So this is where you come in. We want to serve as many small businesses, especially entrepreneurs of color across the country as possible. For that, to help us increase our reach, we're bringing together companies, organizations, foundations, cities, everyone that is invested in the success and the resilience of small businesses. That's where we found our small business support circle. So we have our community members, they're organizations like you that are already providing some sort of service to small businesses, and they want to leverage our businessadvising.org platform to complement what they're already doing by offering this additional coaching or mentoring or advising service as a part of your overall bigger picture offering. Like we work with, for example, with accelerators that say, okay, we offer this curriculum on accessing capital and leadership. We have organizations like ICIC and 1863 Ventures that have a specific offering, and then they say, okay, we're providing you this, and then for everything else, here's PCV. They can help match you with an advisor that can help you with anything else that you might need. And then the second set of members are the ones that are sponsoring access to this platform for all of these entrepreneurs. So our founding and anchor partner here is Kaiser Permanente, and we have other organizations that want to see communities of color thrive and grow their economic development through the small business community. So they come in and they make this all possible. So Morgan, if you can go to the next slide. We have different types of organizations have joined us so far. Kaiser is our anchor partner. We have CDFIs like LISC and Justin Peterson, capital providers like C-Note, accelerators like ICIC, 1863, and we have also corporate partners that you can see like eBay, Wells Fargo, Union Bank, and we have more members joining us every month. So we work very closely to complement the services you're already offering your small business owner community. and we work with you to take it to the next level. So I would love to welcome now Morgan Dickerson, our program manager, who's going to talk to you a little bit more specifically about what partnering looks like.
Absolutely, thank you. So Natalia and Dr. Nola shared a little bit about what the small business owner's experience looks like when working with Pacific Community Ventures, and I'm here to share what your experience is going to look like partnering with us. So first and foremost, we make it easy for you. We know that the work that you're doing with entrepreneurs is priority, is important, and we want to be able to elevate that and make your life a little bit easier. So what we'll do is we have suggested language. So if you want to write an email to your community of entrepreneurs to share about our partnership and invite them to sign up and work with us, we've got a newsletter blurb, we've got an email, we've got it down to a tweet if that's what you're looking to have, all available and ready for you. We've got 1-pagers, 2-pagers, whatever's needed. We're making it easy for you. The work that we're going to be doing together is going to be impactful. So Natalia spoke a little bit about the work that we've done with ICIC. And a couple years back, we started a pilot program where we introduced business advising to 126 small business owners in California cities, so San Diego, Sacramento, and LA. What we found was the businesses that were working with an advisor through PCV's business advising program created more jobs, brought in more money, brought in more revenue. We are also very data driven, as you saw by that last slide. What we can do together is provide you with monthly updates, weekly updates, whatever we need, where we can share information about what's happening with the small businesses in your community. You can share with us information like their name, a little bit about their background, what you interpret as what they may need and what they may want out of our program. And then we can in turn respond with, okay, this person has signed up but hasn't completed their onboarding process yet. Or we see 20 of the 25 referrals working with their partner, and here are some of the things that they're working on. And this leads me into the next point is collaboration. You know, if there's additional information as far as data that we'd be interested in seeing, we'd be happy to make it work for us, for our individual partnership. And beyond just the collaboration and the data sharing that we've got, collaboration in all forms. So if you have small businesses that speak Spanish and aren't comfortable in English, we can talk through how can we support these people. If you're interested in throwing an informational session so that all of your entrepreneurs can get to know us, we'd be happy to jump in. We'd be happy to talk, brainstorm and think through our partnership and the process together. And then finally, just a kind of overview of the process. We'll sign an official MOU to make our partnership official, welcome you into the small business support circle, giving you, social media love, introductions to everybody else in that small business support circle that we had shown on the screen earlier. We'll provide you with a partnership packet, which includes all of the resources that I had talked through, the email templates, the 1-pagers, the 2-pagers, the data share document, all of that. We'll set up a kickoff call so that we can talk through what this collaboration looks like and how we can best serve the small businesses in our now combined community. And then we'll provide ongoing support, scheduling monthly check-ins or recurring check-ins to review, who has signed up, how they're doing, all of that. And if there's any additional areas for collaboration and brainstorming, new ways that we can elevate the support of the small businesses in our community. So with that, I want to invite you to join us and invite you to join the Small Business Support Circle alongside PCV, Kaiser Permanente, and the dozens of other organizations that we had shown earlier. And in order to do so, the simplest ask of you is, if you are interested, send us an email. just let Natalia and I know that you're interested, and we can set up an individual one-on-one meeting to learn more about your organization and the support that you're giving small businesses. We can share a little bit more and answer any questions and start brainstorming what our collaboration and what our partnership can look like. I've got our email addresses on the screen, but I'll also send out a follow-up email later today or tomorrow so that you have our contact information. Like I said, just send across an email saying that you're in, and we'll take it from there, and we'll figure out what our partnership and what our work can look like.
Yeah, just reply back and we'll take it from there. And I just want to clarify, we're very, very excited to welcome you all. And like I was mentioning, thanks to the support of the support circle partners and specifically of Kaiser Permanente, these partnerships have no cost to any of the nonprofit organization and any of you that are joining us in this call. In the past, we've asked our partners to help us cover some of the costs, but now thanks to the support circle, it's completely free of charge. So yeah, I'd love to open it now to questions. I know Freya asked us, do you work with nonprofit leaders? And the answer is yes, with an asterisk. So because our portfolio of advisors focus on business challenges, we support nonprofits that have some sort of business component or earned revenue component so that they could benefit from business advisors. So if there are more nuanced nonprofit challenges that they need help with, like development or nonprofit grant writing, those types of things, we're not so equipped to help just yet. But for any business related area of support, we're very happy to help. Any other questions, thoughts, reactions? Perfect. How are you different from ICIC? Great question. ICIC is actually one of our support small business support circle members, and we have a great 4-year relationship with them. So when you hear about the ICIC program, they are an accelerator, and they have a special curriculum and trainings about how accessing capital. So they provide a very vital set of services for small businesses. Now, when the ICIC curriculum ends, they tell you, okay, for anything else that you may need, we're happy to match you to an advisor. We are the ones that are facilitating that second component of the ICIC program. So we're different in that we come in and say, okay, if you need help with anything else beyond accessing capital and everything that the ICIC accelerator or training program curriculum has covered, if you need anything else, here's us. They work also on a cohort level. So there's a lot of resources out there for small business owners in general, whereas we match people one-to-one. So Dr. Nola is not learning about resources for consulting businesses in general. She's learning about what does Dr. Nola need today. And that's what she works on with her advisor. So it's very, very individualized, one-on-one. But yeah, we work with a lot of accelerators like ICIC, bringing in this additional component. So when you, for example, start referring us businesses, Morgan and I talk about it often, that we want to stop using the word referral because it's really a complementary service. It's not like you send them to us and you don't hear about it again. It's more like we're bringing an additional component to your own offering, but it's facilitated by us. So we work together. For example, we have one of our partners that works with a lot of Cantonese speakers, small business owners, and they say, well, how can we do this? Do you have advisors speak Cantonese? And as a matter of fact, we do. What we don't have is the relationship managers that speak Cantonese. And they say, well, we have translators. Oh, let's join forces. So now we're supporting monolingual Cantonese speakers. So we work very closely together to customize this experience to you and your community. Laura says, this is such an exciting program. Thank you. I think so too. I'm very excited. And I hope you can join us and we can be excited together. We have worked with ICIC for about 5 years. Wanda, aren't they fantastic? We love them. They're one of our strongest partners, and they're so committed to our mission and to inclusivity and democratizing entrepreneurship. So they're fantastic partners. We started with that pilot with 126 small businesses, and this year we're serving 556. So It's really, really exciting, and they're across all the countries. It's really good. Do you work with franchises, and does PCV consider a franchise a startup business? Oh, that's a good point. I do think we've had a few franchises in the past, and you're right. Like we're saying, if you're past the product design, if you're already selling your product or your service, the small business already selling their service, then we're ready to help. So yeah, they wouldn't be considered a startup in that case. And that's why it's so important that we have this human component. We're not just a form that people fill online and then an algorithm will say you qualify, you don't qualify. We have a human being from our relationship management team connect with you and say, oh, yeah, your business has only been in business for 3 months, but it's a franchise. So you're already selling product. You're already in business. Yeah, you're not a startup. So that's the beauty or secret sauce, that we have real human beings running and connecting with you. Oh, let me see. Any other questions? I want to make sure there's 2 places where we have the questions, the Q&A and the chat. I want to make sure I'm not missing anyone. Company looks like, we already talked about that. Fantastic. For SBA reporting purposes, do you provide the information to your partners to track client metrics? Yes. So actually, this is a good point. We have one of our small business support circle partners that's getting some additional funds because they didn't have access to they couldn't offer technical assistance. So now they have access to new funds because we are the technical assistance component. We're providing technical assistance for them. So we are happy to share data with you on an aggregate level. And the one thing that we have a big, let me restart. We didn't cover this, but we sent the small surveys to small businesses after they get matched with their advisors. And from there, we ask them how many hours have you met with your advisor for on a big picture, on ballpark. And so we depend a little bit on them actually replying. So many small business owners are very good about replying to the surveys, but not 100% of them do. So we will have to work together for SBA reporting if there's something that perhaps you want to ask separately to your own advisors, and we can happy to share the data that we get. But it's something that that's going to drive your reporting. We may work together so that we're asking maybe from different sites, and so we can get more information. Yeah. And I'm glad that you mentioned access to capital, because that is one of the big areas that our small businesses have needed help since the pandemic hit. Accessing capital, digital marketing, because businesses had to start selling online for the first time in many cases, and also just business strategy pivoting. So we have been very active in putting together, for example, a cohort of PPP advisors that are helping people apply for the PPP, crisis relief advisor cohort, and so on. Most lenders want to see 2 years of taxes to try to secure funding. This is something PCV can assist with more information. So we have a lot of folks work with our advisors to get ready to access capital. And yes, we have a lot of advisors that are very well versed in this, and they will help you get ready, get your paperwork ready, etc. But it's a good time to clarify that we also make sure that the advisors are giving you advice and guidance, but they're not going to be like a substitute for having a CPA look at your taxes, for example. They're not going to do the actual work, but tell you, like, you know what you need, and a CPA, and make sure when you're looking at a CPA, think about these 3 things. So more of that guidance side of things. Like if it's a digital marketer, they're going to tell you, oh, let's put together a strategy. Let's work on that strategy is going to look like, but they may not necessarily put together the little ads and everything for you. So one thing that we always stress is the importance of putting in the work yourself as a small business owner as well. What is the vetting process for the advisors and mentors? That is a great question. So we go on a couple of levels, and Morgan, feel free to jump in, please. Their application is longer than it is for small business owners. Of course, we get to ask them about their professional experience, their areas of expertise, their training, etc. But then we go online and verify this information. We look under, for example, their social media profile, the LinkedIn profiles, see their connection to their businesses. And then they also go through an interview with our team where we get to know them better and get to take some cues about their experience. And for example, if we see that, they say, I'm a digital marketing expert, but we see online that they work at accounting company, we dig a little bit on that. And then we also work with our advisors to have them give us feedback and utilize that to check in. We also do a second layer of vetting. So we do one layer of vetting when we first onboard the advisors, and then they go into our advisor pool. Then when we're about to match them with a small business owner, we do a second layer of the internet search, the profile verification to see that nothing has changed, and just to add one layer of protection right there before we actually match them. And every time we match them, again, we do the same. And I would love to add also that thanks to our partnership with Kaiser, we're launching this new initiative this year where, in addition to vetting our advisors, we're also training them on aspects like cultural sensitivity, trauma-informed care, and empathy building, and other trainings to help them be the best advisors they can, beyond to complement the areas of expertise with actually training on how to be good advisors. Thank you for the question, for Yumi.
I would just add that as an advisor myself, I've worked with 2 or 3 of our small business owners over the past year. And, differently than what Dr. Nola was describing, each partnership, because it's dependent on really your schedule and the small business owner you're working with and the cadence you guys want to set for yourselves, it's really flexible per partnership of how often, how long you talk. It's been really, really rewarding having that direct one-on-one conversation with a couple of our small business owners in different places and different industries throughout this year, to really sort of keep myself grounded in all of the work that we do too.
Yes.
Natalia, that raises a question for me. I'm thinking about the people that were invited today and many on the call. They have, some of the individuals on this call have, sort of decades of really successful small business. They may be working in small business supporting organizations now, but it could be kind of building on a foundation of a lot of entrepreneurial background. Their boards of directors, some of their advisory councils, maybe. I mean, and forgive me if I missed it, but are you guys also accepting advisors to come into the program? And if so, is it best to go to you and Morgan directly? And what's the process for that? Beyond obviously screening and vetting, but just there's probably a lot of expertise on the line as well.
Fantastic. The answer is yes, please, always. We're always recruiting and looking for more advisors. Please join us and please help us spread the word. If you have any ideas of how to, for example, engage with some professional associations you're part of, or other businesses that we could help, that we could connect to recruit their employees, please let us know. Just reply to the email. You'll get an email after the event. Just reply. And we're also going to send a link to where to sign up if you'd like to become an advisor yourself. Anyone in the call, please. And yeah, we have a lot of small business support, small business circles, advisors, members that our organization then send us their advisors as an employee engagement opportunity, for example. So yes, please. Awesome question, Beth. Appreciate it very much.
Thank you.
Of course. Will your community partners business consultants participate in the KP training? Oh, just to clarify, the trainings that I was mentioning, I don't necessarily, they're not conducted by Kaiser Permanente, but thanks to the support that we got, we're able to now build this component of the program. But we haven't, that would be a really interesting concept to develop. We haven't yet included our community partners in the trainings, but I think we would be open to open it up if it's of interest to our partners. Yeah. Excellent. Well, thank you so much, everyone, for attending. I know many times at these events, you think of questions right after the webinar wraps up. So please feel free to send us any and all questions. Reply to the email. Morgan, Bubble, and I will be happy to answer any and all questions or any all ideas. If you think of other people we should be talking to, we're really invested in deepening our connection to the small business community across all of Southern California. So please let us know, how can we work together? I'm really looking forward to connecting with all of you and find ways we can join forces and impact more people in our community. So please let us know if you're in. It doesn't have to be a long email, just say I'm in, and we'll take it from there. And I'm really excited and looking forward to connecting with you all. Oh,
Great.
Maria, super question. We have a last question before if you want to wrap up. Maria, we have other partnerships that provide mentoring service and have found this service to be quite successful. Program participants go from training programs such as Emerging Latina, Entrepreneurial, an 8-week program startups, and the Business Management Leadership Academy, 8-week program for firms, 3+ years with a focus supplier development. Thank you for the. Oh, no problem. Thank you. Thank you so much. So see, mentorship, partnership work. So yes. Now we can. Thank you so much, Maria. I really appreciate your comment, and we'll make sure to connect. I know you sent us your email, so thank you so much, everyone, for attending. Looking forward to working together, and thank you, Beth and Roberto, for your partnership, and thank you so much to Dr. Nola for sharing her experience with us.
Thank you so much. Are you guys posting this video like to social media? Please send it to Alignable. We have a Black group, Black-owned business group with almost 800 members, and we have the veteran-owned group with almost 1,000 members. So on Alignable, if you could post that, I will see that it gets to our groups.
Thank you so much. We'll do for sure. Thank you, everyone. Looking forward to working together.
Have a good day, everyone. Thanks for coming. Bye-bye.
Bye.